Shalom family. Let's look at a couple of the stories that popped up on my feeds over the last 24 to 48 hours. And it's interesting because it's all playing into where we all know this is all going. So the first one is, and this nostalgia takes me straight back to 2020 immediately. Hospital wards are full to bursting according to a warning from a leading doctor. They are full of patients suffering a combination of respiratory and flu symptoms in what is known as the quad-demic. One of the country's leading doctors said. Dr. Ian Higginson warned that half of Britain's A&E units are at full capacity because of the sharp increase in winter illnesses. Dr. Higginson from the Royal College of Emergency Medicine described the situation as pretty grim. He explained the patients have been forced to wait in corridors owing to bed shortages with ambulances queuing outside and told of an increased risk to health staff. Time for them to start pushing masks and all sorts of quarantine things. And interesting, right? 2020, boom, all over again. Drive the fear narrative, mention things like quad-demic or disease X or so on until they finally, in their next evil leaders of the world meeting, get together and decide which one they're going to go with because they still seem to be choosing. Or maybe Bill Gates is fine-tuning something we haven't seen before. The fruit fly fungus virus. Who knows? I, for one, have no fear, and they aren't forcing me to do nothing. And then there is no border. Mozambican mayor says millions will flock into South Africa if the situation worsens in Mozambique. Earlier in the week, it was reported of political turmoil in Mozambique ignited by the elections that were held in October the 9th already, escalating after ruling Frelimo party candidate Daniel Chapo was declared the winner of the contested polls. Demonstrations erupted in different cities, including Maputo, since October till now, with protesters contesting the results. Founded in 1962, Frelimo began as a nationalist movement fighting for the self-determination and independence of Mozambique from Portuguese colonial control. During the struggle, Frelimo managed to maintain friendly relations with both, come on, you've got this, the Soviet Union and China, and received military and economic assistance from both. The interesting thing is the faction fighting against Frelimo all these years, that's trying to take the political power away from Frelimo, has always had friendly relations back in the day with South Africa and Rhodesia, who was supporting them in their fight against Frelimo, backed by Russia and China. And currently, because of this whole election unaccepting votes and everything and the chaos between the parties, even prisons have had mass breakouts. I'm talking, 1,500 prisons that just broke out accidentally and went off to go and join the protests and support. People have died. It's chaos. So if anything, please pray for those of us in Mozambique, the ministers, the actual believers who are living there, the farmers who have to live there, that they will be protected and kept safe by God, and all the people that are suffering in this uncertainty and chaos of civil unrest in Mozambique. Mozambique is literally seemingly tearing itself apart from the inside out, and hence the warning that they're giving South Africa that all these people are going to flood across into South Africa. South Africa already been in the forefront of anti-Israel and anti-everything Jewish. It can only be something that's going to happen as part of the other problems the country currently faces. Then Walmart has removed the Sinwar t-shirt but leaves the Nasrallah shirt on their online shelves. And there's a whole thing about that. US retail giant Walmart removed 2 shirts from the site featuring images of Hamas chieftain Yahya Sinwar. The shirts were flagged by a watchdog group, Anti-Semitism.org, which called it outrageous. One shirt had an image of Sinwar's face with a logo of his name separated into sin and war. The second shirt featured a cartoon image of Sinwar firing a weapon while in combat gear, making him look like a hero. There is, however, a similar shirt available on the Walmart site featuring Hassan Nasrallah, the now deceased head of Hezbollah, on a backdrop of the Dome of the Rock, which stands on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. And on the Nasrallah shirt, it says in Arabic, Nasrallah safe following Israeli airstrikes. Whoops, not so safe. But interesting that you can take terrorists and murderers and put them on t-shirts, and you can still sell them at Walmart online, and they're selling until someone throws a tantrum and says this is wrong, then it stays up. And now even with people pointing out and saying this is wrong, antisemitism.org, now they remove some of the shirts but not all of the shirts. Why? Because the world is now predominantly in its final stages, turning into the final week of mankind, anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish, anti-Israel, anti-Christian, anti-God, anti-Jesus, anti-truth. And this is what we get for that. This is the world around us. That is why there's such a desperate need for the light to be shone in the darkness. Stand up, don't hide your light. Trump calls to buy Greenland after Canada and the Panama Canal. First it was Canada, then the Panama Canal. Now Trump wants Greenland. The president-elect is renewing unsuccessful calls he made during his first term to buy Greenland from Denmark, adding to the list of allied countries which he's been picking fights with even before taking office on January 20. In a Sunday announcement naming his ambassador to Denmark, Trump wrote, "For purposes of national security and freedom throughout the world, the United States of America feels that the ownership and control of Greenland is an absolute necessity." He also suggested that Canada should be the 51st U.S. state and referred to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau as governor of the great state of Canada. So hilarious, if anything, never a dull moment, and he's making waves before he even begins on the 20th next year. So definitely going to be something worth watching, and all the countries' leaders out there are all tensing for what they don't know is coming, because anything's possible. God bless. Keep looking up. Shalom.